Theodore Roosevelt said, "Far better is it to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered by failure, than to rank with those poor spirits who neither enjoy nor suffer much, because they live in a gray twilight that knows not victory nor defeat." Our launch day was December 30th, 2013. It's hard to describe the fear and anticipation that leads up to launch day, especially for a group like ours who had no previous experience in the Grand Canyon. One of the more experienced boaters on our trip, Charlie, said that his hope was to stand at the end of the Grand Canyon, look back, and say, "Well, that wasn't so bad." Lindsay and I spent a lot of time before the trip discussing risk. I must have searched the web hundreds of times for the number of people who have died while rafting the Grand Canyon. I wanted to quantify the risk. But what I really wanted was for Google to return a search that said, "Anthony, you and your loved ones will not die in the Grand Canyon." But I didn't find that. There was a real risk. There was a risk that I or someone I know, someone in my party, someone I loved might die in the Grand Canyon on this trip. The outcome of the trip was one of the most uncertain outcomes of any trip I've ever done. There was a real number, a percentage chance that this could go bad. And I don't know what that number is, but I know it's not zero. And I know it never will be. It's not zero for the most experienced Grand Canyon boatman, and it definitely was not zero for me. So in the end, the safest thing to do would be to not go, to stay home. But what is the cost of that decision? What would I miss? How will I ever know what it feels like to risk, to truly risk? And how will I know when an experience comes along that is worth risking for? The famous mountaineer William Unsoeld once said, "We used to tell them in Outward Bound, when a parent would come to us and ask, 'Can you guarantee the safety of our son Johnny?' And finally we decided to meet it head on. We would say, 'No, we certainly can't, ma'am. We guarantee you the genuine chance of his death. And if we could guarantee his safety, the program would not be worth running. We do make one guarantee, as one parent to another. If you succeed in protecting your boy, as you are doing now, and it is your motherly duty to do so, you know, we applaud your watchdog tenacity. You should be protecting him. But if you succeed, we guarantee you the death of his soul." At this moment in Hance Rapid where we hit a hole and it kind of spun us, and the water started pouring over the side, and I thought for a moment that we were going to flip. And that was the first time when I realized, whoa, this 18-foot boat with 1,000 pounds of equipment on it can flip. And that's when the risk became real to me. And I think for the rest of my trip, that there was a reality that the boat could flip. And I think, like Unsoeld said, that did something for me. It did something for my soul. It made the trip that much better. We had no flips on our trip, but each boat recognized the real risk and the reality that that was a possibility. And without that risk, you just don't get the feeling of accomplishment, the feeling of joy.
I get really scared when we come up to the bigger rapids, when we have to scout them.
Yeah. And what does the fear do to you?
Kinda gets me all hyped up and nervous, and then afterwards I kinda just want to cry.
You want to cry at the end?
Yeah, like a good cry, like, hallelujah.
And, so that was my biggest anxiety. What if something happened that I would die, and then my family would be without me? Is the biggest concern that I have.
And how did that feeling before compare to, when you're looking at the rapid or right before the rapid?
I guess kind of like a football game. before the game, you're all nervous and you're getting excited about the game. But as soon as the kickoffs happens, all the nerves and all that settles down. And I feel the same way on the river.
Some people get real concerned on some of the things I do in the outdoors. My family, solo backpacking, canoeing in my younger days. There was some concern about societal concerns on risk, but I think also as a very knowledgeable person with whitewater and the outdoors, I understand that there's a whole lot of risks involved with this trip. The weather, the size of the rapids, the extent of the trip, the removal from safety measures, the coldness of the water, and those are some of the things that I was very concerned about, still am concerned about. I had many conversations with Charles, who you just interviewed, throughout the time that we said we were going to be on this trip. We were accepted to be on this trip, and we talked often about the risk. In my life situation, I thought that first, I was going to handle the risk by inviting people I could trust and have trusted with my life. That was Charles. Also, to be comfortable in some of the other people on the trip, such as Mr. Derringer and Ben Asmus, to know that they're very level-headed people. They don't have a ton of experience, but they also have some very good skills.
It's automatic now. I know everything I will do from the time I wake up until the time I go back to sleep. The scenery will change, the rapids will get easier and then harder and then easier again. I will be brought to the brink of disaster several times throughout the day. I will narrowly avoid boat-eating holes or luckily slip over the top of glassy green waves only moments before they break hard enough to flip my enormous raft. Disaster is always looming. As Lava Falls approaches, the disaster becomes more and more real and more likely. Lava is kind of a toss-up for me. Some of the best boatmen flip rafts in lava. There's a real chance that a flipped boat in lava could be deadly. It's one of the most terrifying things I have ever seen. There's no clean line. In most rapids, if you make a certain series of moves successfully, you can have some degree of confidence that you will make it through the rapid upright. Lava is not that way. You can take the exact line you've chosen, do everything right, and the river can still have its way with you. So why not walk? Several people in our group were planning to walk. Why should I not join them? I can walk. There are no constraints on me. There's no reason that I have to run this rapid. This is the very crux of the decision to come to the Grand Canyon at all. I have chosen to be pushed to the edge and test myself. The test is not, can I run Lava Falls with the boat right side up? The test is, when I'm standing high above the river scouting the rapid, do I make the choice to get back in my boat and drop over the lip? Do I put it all on the line because I believe in the value of the experience? Do I really believe that there's enough to be gained to justify the risk that's being demanded? They say you're always above lava. Even right after you finish the rapid, you were only below Lava Falls for a few celebratory moments before you were planning your next trip through Lava Falls. Sometimes lava is a job interview, or a relationship, or righting injustices. Or in the case before me, it's a rapid, but the question is always the same. Do I drop in? You're always above lava. As soon as the celebration on the beach below is over, you are right back above lava again. And if I don't run lava falls today, I fear I may never run lava falls. I may never run any of the lava falls in my life. I don't make decisions out of fear, at least not fear alone. I will drop over the lip today. Why am I not asleep? I just spent 20 days sleeping on the ground in the freezing cold, and tonight is my first night back in bed. The bed I am sleeping in is a king-size bed at the Hampton Inn, with a down comforter and extra pillows. I spent the evening soaking in a hot tub with friends and eating a pizza and drinking really good beer. There's no reason I should be up at 6 a.m., unable to sleep, missing the river, and worst of all, answering work emails. I know I don't miss getting out of my sleeping bag in the morning, or having to get out of my tent at night to check and see how close the rockfall had come to us while we were sleeping. I know I don't miss wearing mittens that are frozen solid until my body heat melts them. I know I don't miss loading and unloading the boats every day. I do miss the silence, though. The pulsing of the earth that tells you when to go to bed and when to wake up, and puts on a show with stars that makes any other show on earth jealous. I know I miss the purposefulness of being on the river, the mission, waking up and knowing how many miles I need to make that day. I know I miss the randomness, the surging, the turbulence. I am scared that I will miss the people. I am scared that when the closeness of the people is gone, though Lindsay and I will have each other, there will still be something missing. I think the in-between spaces that I cannot describe are the things I'll miss the most. I don't remember how life is without the jokes around the campfire, the beautiful driftwood, the awe-inspiring canyon walls, the fear of the biggest whitewater I've ever seen, and the people whom I shared it all with. But I know it wasn't as good. I also know that if I had not taken this risk, the real risk, I would still be wondering what I would be missing by passing up my chance to go rafting in the Grand Canyon. I don't wonder. I could spend hours telling you how worthy this risk is of being taken. I could, but I don't know if you could understand. Understanding something like that might require you to take a real risk. So when the lava falls of your life arise, drop in.